Welcome to Stress Mess, a stressless podcast where the chaos is real, the caffeine is strong, and swearing sometimes happens, and that's okay. I'm Samantha Elizabeth, health and wellness coach, chronic overthinker, and proud BFFs to stress itself. Here we're ditching perfection, embracing unfiltered real talk, and making mindset shifts that might just keep us from screaming into the void. Let's get messy. Today's guest is Libby Magliolo, presentation coach, slide wizard, and fellow introvert who knows what it's like to be awkward, but also how to crush it in front of an audience. We cover everything from networking fails to the psychology of true crime, to what happens when you choke during a presentation, and most importantly, how to bounce back. Libby also shares practical, real advice for anyone who wants to feel more confident presenting at work, on stage, or anywhere people are watching. Let's get into it. All right, the recording started. I always start this off the same way. All right, everybody, it's recording. I don't know what I'm doing. Oh, wait, this is a podcast. Hello, and welcome to the Stress Mess podcast. I'm Samantha Elizabeth, and I will be your host for today. I'm just joking. I'm not going to do that voice the entire time.
Okay, got it.
That's my bit as well, too, in the beginning of every podcast, is like this official broadcasting voice that I have to do. I don't know.
You've got a good broadcaster voice. You should read the weather. I like it. You'd be a great weather lady. I trust you.
It comes from a training, and I apologize. I am going to have my dog and my cat with me today. And for those that can see this on video, this is Buddy. And then my cat Daisy Bell. Oops, just made the camera jump. My cat Daisy Bell is here as well too, and she probably will be coming on camera. Anyway, this is not what this podcast is about. Hello, Libby.
It could be.
Welcome to the podcast.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
It's so good to see you again. Gosh, we met several months ago.
We did.
We meet through lunch club? Where was it that we met?
I'm struggling to remember now. We've sort of connected through a group of female entrepreneurs and business owners, and I got a group of folks together because I own my own business and I sit in my home office in my pajamas, and you get a little lonely sometimes. I realized that the community doesn't come to you. You have to go find the community. So we connected that way. I cannot remember who originally introduced us though, but I'm so glad that we met.
Yeah. Well, because you put together presentations. We must have met like in some networking, whatever, sort of thing. Right. I just can't remember where. And I absolutely love like these networking events that I go to, especially the free ones. But
the freer, the better.
Right. The freer, the better.
Yes. The more lunch, the better. The more free lunch, the better.
Ones online are good too, so you don't really have to go.
Right.
Although, gosh, lately I've been having to force myself, and I'm about to start a new project where I'm forcing myself to get out of the house more often.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
As an introvert, forcing myself to be an extrovert and ambivert, like that is, I have to get out of the house because I will live in my house. And when I worked from home before, I would not leave the house for like 2 weeks straight if I didn't have to. And I'm like, because I'd go to the grocery store and I would have enough food, be working from home, and it was like. Like, what do you do like after a really long day in the office, working from home and everything is you just want to relax. And I also had this thing that I called the 24-hour outfit. So
I'm listening. You've hooked me. Tell me more.
It's be funny.
Sponsored by Costco.
I don't do this anymore, folks, but one of the things that I used to do is, like I would have, because I was on a global team at the time when I worked from home. And so I'd have all these morning meetings, and like sometimes they would start at like 4:00 in the morning. Okay. Right. And so I would basically just get out of bed, go to my computer. And this was before video conferencing too. So I'm really dating myself here, but, I would just get up and go to the conference and just log on. Right. And then I would take like my couple of conference meetings. I'd do a little work, and then I would take a shower. Right. And because there was no video conferencing, at the time, I would just get back into pajamas
Right.
after my shower. Like,
Right.
what else am I gonna be wearing? I'm not leaving the house. I'm not doing anything. And
Right.
so I put pajamas back on, and then I would spend the rest of my day, working, and then I would have, dinner and stuff like that. Although at the time I had a kiddo and a husband, and so I'd make them dinner and
Right.
all of that kind of stuff. And then, it was my 24-hour outfit, because then I would go to sleep in that outfit, wake up the next day,
Right.
have my morning meetings, take
Right.
a shower,
Okay, that's not as bad as you made it sound.
Okay.
Okay,
How did I make it
because
sound?
just like I put together an outfit that was socially acceptable to wear at any time of day, and then I would
Yes.
wear it for which it's sort you made it sound a lot worse because during what I realized during COVID, and I've
Uh,
realized this in some pretty embarrassing ways, is that during COVID, I feel like my personal hygiene standards slipped and have never recovered
yeah.
because during 2020 it was
Yeah.
like, what's the point? What's the point of anything? Like, here we are,
Mhm.
we're wiping
Yep.
down our mail, we're wiping down our groceries. The earth may not be here soon. I don't
Yeah.
need to take a shower. I
Right.
was pregnant at the time and just
Yeah.
so big and so angry, and it was summer in Texas. I was not showering. And so there's something about that I think my brain just got reset. Like, this is an option.
Yeah.
This is a life hack. You've decided not to shower. This isn't disgusting. This is a life hack. You have found time in your week. So
Right.
I don't,
Exactly. Do I have
I
to
don't think
shower every
I've
day?
ever recovered. But what you said before about being an introvert, I relate so much because I
Yeah.
always think I'm doing something nice for myself of, oh, we can just, I can stay inside and I can get solo time and recharge time, but I push it
Mhm.
to extreme and it gets very lonely. And so
Mhm.
I'm in a co-working space today, not by choice. I would
Yeah.
never leave the house by choice. But my children are at home and they won't get jobs, mostly because
Yeah.
of child labor laws, because they're like 2 and 5.
Oh,
Um,
geez.
so
Freeloaders.
freeloaders, they
Yeah.
need to get off the payroll as soon as possible. But I'm out of the house and I am an introvert as well, or somewhere towards the middle. And you need to see people. You start getting
Yep.
so weird if you don't see
Oh,
people.
yeah. Although, like, my problem is that I'm just an awkward person in general, and so when I get in front of people, there was like this little reel that I saw the other day that was really funny, where somebody was like walking by somebody else on the sidewalk, and one person was just like, "Oh, hey, how's it? Like the weather is really great today," and the other person
Right,
was like, "Yeah, yeah,
right,
like they were trying to talk, but they realized that like they didn't get any like because
right,
it was like on the fly. Like, you have to respond to, well, you didn't have to respond to
right,
that. I guess you could have been awkward and not responded.
right,
But, like, because they were trying to respond and they seriously, like,
right,
couldn't get out any intelligent words. "Oh, weather,
right.
wonderful," that sort of
You
I
glit.
I feel like that sometimes
Yes,
when I'm trying to, like, do, like, normal interactions that
yes.
I'm gonna do something. I, like, went to a networking event one time and I met somebody there and we were walking out and we were walking and talking at the same time going back to our cars, and I seriously, to give them space on the sidewalk, I stepped off into the grass, except for the grass was all muddy and wonderful and squishy. And so
Right,
I stepped off into the grass to give them
right,
room on the sidewalk. Why didn't I
right,
just go behind them? Because I'm an awkward person.
right,
And I'm sitting there like I got my shoe stuck in the mud
right.
and they're
Oh, no.
walking and talking and they like just kept walking and talking, not
Right.
knowing that I was behind there trying to like
Get
fish
out of
my
the
way
mud.
out of the mud.
That's horrible. I'm so sorry. That scars you because it's like, well, this is why I don't talk to people because
Right,
I
like
get stuck in the mud. This is it. I had
right.
all the evidence I needed of why I don't talk to people. And here I went thinking I
Alright.
could talk to people and I shouldn't do.
Like, stop talking to people, but it was a networking event. You're supposed to
Right,
talk to
right.
people. You're supposed to,
I
like, I don't know, like, network, and
no.
there and so I do, but yeah, I tend to get awkward,
Oh,
and,
yeah.
like,
Doesn't
one
everyone?
thing that what's that?
Doesn't everyone? I mean, I don't know. Doesn't everyone? I think
I
everyone does, but
don't
maybe
know.
they just don't care.
There's
I
some
don't know.
people that I see that I'm just like, I'm so jealous because I see and I have, like, some friends that are just very charismatic, funny people, and they're just, like,
Okay.
naturally like that.
We
Like,
hate
they're just
them.
yeah, I know. I look at that and I'm like,
Mm,
"Eh,
mm-mm.
no, it's joking." But, like, it's No, you see that and you're like, "Why can't I be, like, funny and witty?" I think about those things, like, after the fact, like,
Right.
you know, like, 2 days later, I'll have, like, repeat a conversation. I'm like, "Man, I should have said this. That would have been
Right.
so funny."
Right.
And perhaps, like,
Right.
sometimes I do say things that are funny, but only I find them funny. You
Right.
know, like, and somebody else is kinda like, "Okay, she's a dork," you know?
Well, hey man, it's an audience of one. At the end of the day, I've decided that if it makes me laugh, then it's funny. Because I am going to sleep with one person in my head, and that's me. So if I
Yep.
find it funny, then by God, it's funny. I also think this was a COVID thing because
Mhm.
we got out of the habit of small talk, waiting for coffee, and just running into people and just
Yep.
dealing with people in space. And it was a skill that we lost. And I genuinely feel like when we came out of COVID, I kind of had to relearn how to kind of exist in space because I still think COVID changed us all in ways that we haven't fully put words to or fully
Right.
processed. Because I remember the core thing that stuck with me and changed me so much about 2020 was looking at the world as a scary place in a way that I hadn't before, that there's danger
Mm,
all around.
mhm.
Other people are dangerous. Being in public is dangerous. And I feel like that kind of broke my brain a little bit in a way that I didn't recover from. But I had to relearn how to be in a public space. And it's so funny now that you sit in a restaurant and you're crammed up against other people and you stand in
Yeah.
private places and all that. But that was something that we lost for a while of how to exist in public with each other. And so I feel like that didn't make anything better, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, because we look at and I personally love post-apocalyptic type movies and
Oh,
shows and things like that.
interesting.
And, I loved Contagion, and you saw a lot
Oh,
of Contagion in, you know, like, when we went through the
yes.
pandemic, and it was kinda nuts to see that kind of come to life in real life
Yes.
and, you know, feel like, "Oh my gosh," you know, like, "This is real, like, that could actually happen." I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Contagion, but it's a
I
really good
I
movie.
saw it pre-pandemic, and then because I'm a crazy person, watched it during pandemic when
Uh-huh.
it was kind of more of a documentary at that point. Come for the Matt Damon, stay for the bone-chilling accuracy of a worldwide pandemic. But have you read or watched Station 11?
I feel like Station 11, where what tell me about that, and maybe I have because if it's
Yes.
if it's about, like, you know, end of the world kind of disease
End
type
of
of
the
stuff.
world disease. So Emily St. John Mandel is the author. The book
Uh-huh.
came out, I want to say 15 years ago, way, way, way pre-COVID. The plot
Yeah.
of the book, this is on the back of the book, this is giving nothing away, is there's a worldwide pandemic that kills essentially 95% of the world's
Whoa.
population.
Yeah.
And we follow characters leading up to and after that world-changing event. And then they made during slightly later COVID, they made an HBO miniseries of
Ooh.
it, which was, I don't think it did justice to the
Okay.
book, which is a
Yeah.
super annoying thing to say,
Of
but
course. Never.
they never do read the book. But
Yeah.
the book, I remember reading the book and it kind of screwed me up a little.
Okay. Yeah.
But so which sounds like you would love it if it's chilling and post-apocalyptic and all that. So I highly recommend it. Get it from your local library.
Yeah, I mean, I like, those kind of, like, mystery things, like, I don't know if you've ever seen or if you I don't have a subscription to HBO Max, but,
You can use my
uh
login if you
yeah, but,
use my login.
when I did, I don't have it now, but when I did, Silo, that was a good show.
Okay.
Have you seen Silo?
I burned through the first season. I made it halfway through the second season
Okay.
and I got the pilot. Oh my gosh. With Rashida Jones. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
It broke me.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
It
that
was
was
intense.
that was a I mean, that show is, like, absolutely nuts. Obviously,
It's intense.
post-apocalyptic, so you don't know, like, what's true and, you know,
Right.
all of that kinda stuff. There's all those, like, mysteries that are happening, you know,
Right.
within the show. I love that, love that, love that.
I need to finish Silo. Are you watching anything else good these days?
Am I? No. I mean, like, I have
Okay.
Netflix, and I'm gonna say, like, there's a lot of great stuff on Netflix. I
Right.
probably have watched, like, all the great stuff already. I
Yeah.
love my favorite thing
Sure.
My favorite thing is to sit in bed. I probably talked about this before on the podcast. I like to sit in bed and I like to turn on something that I can somewhat pay attention to. And I
Right.
like to get on my phone and I like to get on my comments and all of that kind of stuff and kind of
Right.
do my social media stuff when I'm like laying in bed.
Okay.
And kind of like, the comments and the likes and everything like that you want to, do to support other people or just respond to comments, on your own content. And so
Right.
that's kind of like what I do. And so I have burned through a lot of Netflix. Do I remember everything that happened to me? Like
Right.
the thing. I felt bad because I was watching that documentary on Netflix recently called Amy Bradley is Missing.
Oh, everyone is talking about it. I haven't watched it yet. Everyone is talking
Okay.
about this.
Watch it.
Okay.
And so I'm actually making my way through it the second time because,
Okay. Like zone in.
right, yeah, because
Okay.
the first time I was doing the phone and really not paying attention thing, and then my kiddo, he was like, "Hey, I would really like to see this documentary. Have you heard about it?" And I was like, at first I'm
Maybe.
thinking, should I tell him I've seen it
Right.
or kinda and I was like, I'm gonna be honest with you. I watched it, but I kind of like half watched it. I'd
Right.
love to watch it with you and like not be on my phone,
Right.
like during that.
Right.
Because like when we sit down and watch TV together, I'm not on my phone unless I have to Google something. Like
Right.
there's
Like,
something so compelling, like who is this person married to? How tall
right.
are they? Like
Right.
all of that kind of like and it's like burning a hole in
Yeah.
my like brain all of a sudden that
Right.
like I have to look it up or
Right.
else, I don't know. Maybe
Are
that's a little bit
there
like TV or
active lawsuits being brought against this person?
yeah.
What's the drama?
Yeah, or like, sometimes like when I get into a documentary too, and I'm kind of like it's dragging on and everything
Right.
like that, I'm
You
gonna
like
Google what's the end
figure out.
result here
Right.
because like is this person still in jail? Please tell
Right.
me. Did they get out on parole? Did they die? Like, did they
Right.
ever find them? That sort of thing. Because
Edit.
like
Yes.
I'm like, just give me the answer in the
Right.
end sometimes because it's like I can't watch a 10 episode thing.
Yes.
Although I gotta
Yes.
tell you. I did not The Staircase. Have you
Oh,
seen The Staircase? It's on
yes.
Netflix.
This is pretty
Michael
old.
Peterson.
This is like
It
10 years
is
old.
it is old now. I picked it up, I wanna say like a year and a half ago or
Okay.
something. I've watched through it twice,
Oh,
but, like, I
wow.
slightly became obsessed with the case and everything.
Did he do
And
it? Do you think he did it?
okay, hold on one second
Oh,
here.
okay.
Before
Okay.
we get into that. No, hold on one second. I gotta set this up and everything because
Please.
I know
I'm
that there's
here.
not a lot of people that are team Michael Peterson.
Oh, no. Oh, are
Like,
you the
everybody's
person
like, "No,
crazy
he
pants?
definitely did it." So for those that, like, don't know about this case, let me kinda just set it up a little bit. I'm not gonna go too far into it because it is like an 8-episode series or something like that, and then there's a movie with, like, Colin Firth, and then there's, like anyway,
Oh,
so I'm not gonna,
interesting.
like, talk too much about it because there's too much out there to consume about it, but basically, Michael Peterson was married to Catherine Peterson, and it was late at night, and he came into the house and found her at the bottom of the stairs, called 911 in a panic and everything. She was bloody. She had fallen down the stairs, question mark. He doesn't know what happened, right? This is obviously like pointing to anyway, so then there's this whole trial. He goes into this whole trial because obviously the husband's usually the
Oh, yeah.
suspect. And they think like, oh gosh, like he pushed her down the stairs. He bludgeoned her on the head. Like all of those kind of things because like there was no like did she fall down the stairs or did
Right.
she get bludgeoned by him or pushed or whatever? And well, they don't think ever that he pushed her. They always think that he hit her over the head with something. There's the blow poke thing, and everything. So um, like I said, I've watched it and I'm actually currently reading his book, his
Oh.
side of
Oh,
the
wow.
story and everything, which I think the book is free. No, just kidding. All proceeds go to see, he doesn't want to profit off this story,
Okay.
at
Okay.
all.
Okay.
So all proceeds go to like some kind of charity or something like that. Not his charity, but like some kind of charity and everything, like to go buy the book. And you can get it on Kindle, I think only or
Okay.
something, which is
Okay.
Amazon Kindle.
Kindle
Anyway,
Unlimited, sure.
I'm reading through his book right now, and it was like about like how like what happened in the trial, and that was pretty quick. And right now, the meat of it is his time in prison.
Oh, wow.
And like,
So
what
it's
was
your
that like
time.
for
Oh,
him?
wow.
Because
Oh,
he was in
wow.
prison for eight years.
Okay.
And anyway, I'm not gonna say, but I wanna be Team Peterson.
Like,
Michael Peterson, sorry. Because
okay.
I know there was 2 Petersons, obviously,
Right.
Catherine and,
Right.
I wanna be Michael. I wanna be Team Michael Peterson. And because when I watched the documentary, I was like, "Oh, no, he did not do it." Like, he didn't, I mean, like, that was the, what, 8, 10-part series or something like
Right.
that. To me, I'm feeling, like, bad for him and stuff like that, but the more I look into it and read online and everything, like, now I'm not so sure, because there was things, like, in that documentary on Netflix that they left out,
Right.
and, like, now I wanna like, what anyway, I don't wanna become too obsessed with it, but I am a little obsessed with it, just
I
to let you know.
I think it's fascinating. Some of my friends love the murder podcasts and
Mhm.
Dateline and everything, and they fall asleep to these things.
Yeah.
That is incredible to me, of falling asleep to a story of someone just in a totally gruesome fashion murdering a family member, and that's what they
Yeah.
drift off to night land listening to, is extreme, just violent stories, which would give me nightmares. So
Yeah.
I think I cannot watch anything too late at night. I was watching a Netflix show and it was even semi-serious, and so I had
Yeah.
to do a palate cleanser after
Yeah.
that
Oh,
of
yeah, like, watch Disney or
YouTube
something.
videos.
Yeah.
Right. And I was watching old Conan O'Brien remotes from like 1996, and they were
Uh-huh.
delightful. But the whole murder fascination is so interesting to me. It is, and it's always women that are into it. I
Right,
don't know what that says about us or
I don't
anything, but
I
it's
don't know what
women.
the psychology behind that is totally, because, I mean, like, I can kinda understand, like, there were I don't know, I was dating somebody, and there was, like, this show, and, it was like a show like Love Island or something like
Right.
that. I don't know, I don't watch a lot of trashy TV, but I happened to like watching, something like that. And, anyway, my boyfriend came up, we're not together anymore, but, like, said, like, "Oh, you only like this show because they're cheating on each other," or something like that, like one of those like micro, like passive aggressive type of
Right.
things. And I'm like, wait, what? And I'm like, no, I'm like actually watching it because I'm fascinated by the like what
Right.
psychosis they're going through and everything to
Right.
make them want to do that. And I
Right.
think that's the same thing too, that like when people become obsessed with like murder
Right.
and serial killers and things like that, they're really kind of like, I would never do that. So,
Right.
like, I need to know more about this because I don't have that in my psyche. You know
Right.
what I mean?
I hope
And
that's it. I hope
yeah,
that
yeah. I
I
think
hope
that's the same kind of thing. Like, I like to watch things that would like hoarders. I'm not a hoarder
right.
myself, but that's super fascinating because it's like, what is the psychology behind that?
Right.
You
Right.
know?
There's this girl on TikTok who is cleaning out her husband's grandmother's house, and
Uh-huh.
the grandmother did have a struggled with hoarding, and she's
Yeah.
doing a whole series about cleaning out the house, and it's fascinating, and the amount that she's throwing away and she's uncovering is incredible. But yes, I hope that that's the reason, and that people aren't watching serial killer shows with like a notepad, and they're like, oh yes, okay, this is how you do it. This is how you break into the business. I don't
Right.
know. I don't know. Maybe,
People are not like taking notes, but
maybe.
I mean, like, I'm sure that there are some people out there that are kind
Yeah.
of like taking mental note. Well, I
Right.
know that, like, the thing is that I have seen people joke, like people that are into like true crime or something like that, like, well, I mean, like, I had a boyfriend too, and like anytime we drove out to Louisiana, he'd always point out to the swamps and say, "That's the perfect place to dump a body."
That's
I'm
haunting.
like,
That's a haunting thing to say. I'm gonna get out here. I'm gonna hop out
yeah.
here. I'm actually just gonna catch an Uber for 300 miles. Not a big
Sorry,
deal.
like, what are we doing? Like, no, but like those kind of people that have that. I mean, like, I want to assume it was joking, like that they would say
Fingers
something like that.
crossed.
But like, but then
Right.
about it and you're like, yeah, that would be good. But hold on one second. How do you get to
Right.
that point, like in your
Right.
brain that you would think, like, where would I dump a body?
Right.
But I guess those crime shows kind of, anyway, we're not
Right.
condoning that, the
No.
people. Like,
No.
please,
No. Never.
go
He's
see a
not he's
therapist.
not like I never said it's a good place to dump your body. I said it's a good place to dump a body.
Right.
You're overreacting about
I know, exactly.
freaking out. I would dump
Same
your body somewhere else.
Same person that was like, "You want to watch that show because they're cheaters," and I'm like, "What?" I'm like, "No."
This is what his brain was fixated on, was cheating and dumping bodies in the swamp. Oh, is it because the alligators would eat it?
Projection, that's what it's called, the psychology. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's because, like, the alligators would eat your body, and so therefore there wouldn't be any remnants of you. But anyway, welcome to the murder podcast. No, I'm
This
joking.
has taken a very dark turn, and I love it.
I really do want to talk about something though, because this is something that I think that you can help me with here.
Okay, tell me.
Okay, so
Planning the perfect murder. Done.
Yeah, okay. Murder, it's in the books.
I'll bring a cooler.
Let's put it in the filing cabinet.
Okay,
yeah.
done.
Yeah, okay, we're good with this. All right, so I'm gonna talk again. Okay, this is me. So we're going back to the awkward me again.
That's
because
okay.
now I'm gonna start talking about something, that I recently started doing, which is applying to be a speaker at different events.
That's so exciting.
I struggle though with like one thing, and that is like, what topic? I mean, because I could talk like about a million different topics, I feel, because I have consulting for businesses, I have health coaching and all of that kind of stuff. And so when I get that invitation of like, hey, fill out our form if you'd like to be a speaker, that's one thing that's kind of like, oh my gosh, I want this to be the perfect topic and all of that kind of stuff. And then two, I used to be a trainer and I was like so good at getting up in front of people, but I had one job where I lost my confidence completely. And I remember the moment that it happened. We were in front of a new client. So I had been with this company like a couple months at that point. My first month of being with the company, they had me stand up in front of a client and present about the company. Like talk about like what do we do and like our process and all of that kind of stuff. So in a month's time, I had to like figure all of that out.
That's so
and
scary.
The ins and outs. And I presented that and it went really well. And the managing director was like, oh my gosh, it's like you've been with the company 10 years, not 1 month. And like, that was awesome. I'm like, man, I felt like I was on fire.
Yeah.
And then I got in front of another client the next month. And I remember it was almost my turn to present. And all of a sudden somebody was like, should we break for lunch, everybody, though? And I was like, I was ready. Like, I was like ready to present, in front of this client. And then when they said, let's break for lunch, I was like, cool. So we broke for lunch and I'm talking with the client. We're having this informal talk and, we're just kind of enjoying time. They haven't heard me talk about my subject, which is going to be on communications.
Okay.
So, once we were done with lunch, all of a sudden, I don't know what happened, but I started almost having like an anxiety attack.
Oh, no.
Like, my body went through a roller coaster. Like I was breathing in, I can feel my body screaming, like just run out of the room, like, I mean, like, and I have no idea what happened. I was well versed on the subject, obviously, because I had just done it like a month and I still had like a month under my belt again. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I turned to my coworker who was supposed to go after me. I turned to my coworker and I signaled to him and I say, go now. Like, and he was like, what? And I'm like, I don't know what happened. Like all of a sudden, everything drained out of me, as far as confidence or I don't know what it was about, like, what happened. But like all of a sudden it flipped a switch. And then like my job after that, it was the same thing. Like I would just go into full on panic mode,
Yeah.
and like internally, because then I would ask people, did I sound nervous? Because like
Mhm.
I was like truly like voice shaking,
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
like completely like I was gonna hyperventilate,
Mhm.
because I couldn't get enough oxygen. I don't know what happened. I had been
Yeah.
doing like training for like 15 years before that. And then all of a sudden I get to this point and it's like, I don't know where my confidence went. So anyway, so as I'm preparing, for all of these potential speaking opportunities, I want to know like what would you advise me to
Yeah.
like gain some confidence? Because it's not like I don't know this subject. I'm the
Yeah.
one that told them this is the subject that I want to present on.
Right.
I'm prepared and I've got all my experience and knowledge and skills like kind of going into it. So it's like, hey, Samantha, speak about nuclear physics or something like that. I don't know
Right.
anything about nuclear physics. I don't even, is that
Join
even
the
a
club.
subject, right? But like it's not
Yeah.
like talking about something you don't know, but all of a
Right.
sudden, like I fear like that's going to come back. And I
Yeah.
have done presenting and
Mhm.
it's been hit or miss. Like, this
Mhm.
podcast and everything, very chill. We're
Yeah.
recording it.
Right.
I can edit it later if I want to.
Right.
I
Right.
don't. I just say, hey,
Right.
this is it. This is a stress
This is
mess.
it.
But
Put it online.
um, right. But anyway, that I'm just setting you up for there. But I
Yeah.
just kind of want to know what things would you tell me like to do
Yes.
to get my groove
Yes.
back, I suppose.
I can. Yes, man. What a great 90s reference that is. Okay. So to your first of all, such good questions. To your first question, this one is a struggle for me too of how do I pick a topic. The analogy that is most helpful to me is I see myself and I see you as someone who has a lot of facets and you have
Yeah.
all these different things that you can pull from. So you have a closet that is full of hats, but on your presentation day you can wear only one hat.
Mhm.
You would look silly if you tried to wear five different hats or if you changed all your hats during your presentation. You have
Yep.
to pick one of those hats for that presentation. The next presentation, you can pick a different hat, but you are serving the audience better if you
Mhm.
pick something specific rather
Yep.
than something general. It is hard because it feels like closing doors, but just
Yeah.
tell yourself that you are not running away from other topics or not choosing other topics. You are choosing something specific so it can be in service of the audience. It
Yeah.
can be tough to do, but try and pick one hat.
Sure.
What I will tell you about public speaking anxiety is the overwhelming majority of people either currently feel like you feel or have had an experience exactly like you are talking about. The number one shared fear of people is public speaking. The old Jerry
Mhm.
Seinfeld joke about this is the number one fear of people is public speaking, and the number two is death. And that means that if you're going to a funeral, you would rather be in the coffin than the one doing the eulogy. So this is wildly, wildly common. I will also say I understand the feeling of I lost it. And this was a pivotal moment in a really scary way. It is not lost. It is not gone. Things like this are not linear that, well, this is something I can't get back. It is absolutely something that you can get back. What I would say is it's helpful to a couple of things. It's helpful to find a way to start putting yourself into uncomfortable spots in increasingly uncomfortable ways. What I tell my students, I teach business presentation techniques to graduate students is try and feel uncomfortable before the actual day. You don't want the very first time you feel super uncomfortable to be in front of everyone because it's a very physical response of I've lost all my oxygen and my heart is racing and my palms are sweating and all of that. You have to figure out how to deal with that before the day of. So I tell them find someone who's incredibly comfortable and a family member, a friend, a coworker, and then you go one ring out from there, the person that makes you a little more uncomfortable, and just stepping out in those circles I think is helpful. So it's like exposure therapy. You're starting to feel a little bit more uncomfortable so you can get used to both the mental side of that as well as the physical side of that.
Yeah.
The other thing I encourage, and I learned this from a mentor of mine, is during a talk, just explicitly saying, I'm so excited to be here. I will warn you, I am a little bit nervous, and this comes from a place of wanting to show up the best for you all. And I want to do justice to this topic. If you hear my voice shake, if you hear me be a little bit nervous, I just ask for your grace because
Yeah.
I'm just trying to do a wonderful job for you all. You have never seen an audience get on your side that fast because they understand. And it's a human moment. And you've called out something that's going on in the room. There's a lot of power in that. And it's totally fine because an audience will forgive a lot if they have an experienced, polished, and prepared presenter. They will forgive filler words or you fumbling with the clicker or losing your spot or your voice shaking. They will forgive that. Audiences do not like for their time to be wasted with someone who is unprepared or who doesn't care about their subject matter. So I encourage folks that the audience really is on your side. No audience is sitting there. It's not like Simon Cowell in American Idol, another very early 2000s reference, where he's rooting for you to fail because it's going to be great TV. No one benefits when they go to a conference and pay money and have their time and money wasted. They want what you want, which is to have a great session and for you to do a fantastic job. Everyone wants the same thing. So that was all my soapboxes rolled into one larger soapbox. Hopefully there is something there. Just know that it's so common. You're not alone. And I don't say that to downplay it. I say it to tell you that all the faces that you're looking at in the audience, they are terrified of public speaking.
Yeah.
And so thrilled it's you up there and not them. So, but they are rooting for you to do a good job.
Well, that's like super helpful tips there too, because, like when I do like manager training or other type of training, like either in person or on Zoom or something like that, I'm fine during that. I'm totally relaxed. I'm like the best. I feel like the best instructor in the world. That's the kind of persona I put on or something like that I am. But, like that's the kind of persona that I'm like, oh, this is me. It's when I'm it's just like me solo. Here's my audience and everything like that. Cause my training is always interactive. I'm taking a break, obviously, from speaking and conveying information for other people to also join in the conversation or bring up idea, like that sort of thing. And so that kind of gives, but like, when I'm talking about a speaking, type of thing, like you're feeding off your audience. And let me just say this too, like I am such a great audience member a lot of times, to
eye
people.
contact.
Yeah, I totally do the eye contact. I smile, I nod, I laugh at the appropriate times. All of that kind of stuff.
A+ audience member, A+.
Yeah. Like I'm such an engaged audience member just because I know what that's like to be on the other side. And when you get like nothing, like you get the whole like deadpan or like where people are just having the RBF
or looking at their phones.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah, RBF face. That's what I was like. Did I get the acronym right? But anyway, like they've got that going on.
Yeah.
And you're like, I just said something funny, or like I just said something mildly amusing, or I just said something that kind of would make somebody go, or something like that. So I tend to do that like when people are speaking, to like to make them feel comfortable too. So like if you're an audience member, please do that. Please just be the best audience member that you can be.
It's a respect thing. I agreed that give your time and attention. I mean, I would encourage you that I have spoken in front of bigger because I love the energy and I cannot do without the energy. So I have not found a size of group yet that I haven't tried to do something interactive with. Obviously, you try and make it very close-ended. You don't say like, hey, who's got a super sad story about their childhood that they want to tell in front of 200 people? Anyone? Less than 20 minutes? No one? Okay. So one thing that I like to do, because I talk about presentations, is I'll put up a slide and it's an intentionally bad slide. And I'll say, tell me what's wrong with this. And so it's short, quick answers like bad slide title, unclear data, whatever it is. And so it gets them involved. It also allows them to be a critic. People love picking apart other people's work. And so it gets them involved, which is nice and gets them bought into the story. So I would encourage you, whatever size the room is, whatever size, hey, what word comes to mind when I say this? Shout it out. Just so you have something to play off of, because I don't think, it's hard to sit for that long. It's hard to talk at people for that long. And if you don't know if they're hearing you or
Yep.
receiving what you're saying. So just forcing them to get involved, I would encourage that, because I very, very, very badly need that. And it turns
Mhm.
into more of a conversation. You can
Yeah.
feed off of their energy and all of that. So get them in the mix, make them talk.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Okay, well, that's good advice. Thank you so much, because it's like it's been a while, since I've done that kind of thing. Like I do a lot of training, I do a lot of
Mhm.
one-to-one, type of training as well too. But when it comes to like being in a bigger audience and everything, and I know like because I used to be also in drama and high school and college
Oh,
and everything. Not to go back to my glory days, no, I'm kidding. But like
good time.
no, those are not my glory days. That's for sure. Those were my very much like what days.
Right.
But anyway, but like when I would go out on stage, for drama and be in, plays and other, type of productions, and on TV, like quite a bit as well too. That was something is like you almost like obviously you become like when you're in a play or something, you become that character. So
Mhm.
therefore you're not you. So
Yeah.
like why are you nervous? Because
Yeah.
you are somebody else. And it's the same thing too. Like when you get on, TV or something like that. Like I said, like here I kind of put on like at first and everything to kind of get my mood set. I
Mhm.
will normally like go hello and welcome to the podcast, because
Mhm.
like it's funny to me, but it's also like it sets me up to be like, I'm the Stress Mess podcast
Right.
host. That's who I am,
Right.
and
It's a
I'm
persona.
not going to be nervous like whatsoever
Right.
and just going to be myself,
I
So,
think I think that's helpful though. This is my second Conan O'Brien reference, but he talks about his early days of having his show. His
yeah.
mentality was act as if. Act as if you are the person that earned a national talk show. Act as if you are the successful one. And there definitely is a huge mental component of convincing yourself that you have the right to be there and have the right to take up space and have a voice and all that. So there is a huge mental component of it for sure. But I think that mentality of I am playing a character, and you mentioned a second ago, I am the world's best trainer. I think is phenomenal, and that can be you. That can be your onstage persona. I also
Mhm.
think long story, but on my YouTube shorts, I've been getting a lot of clips from the movie The King's Speech. I feel like I've watched about
Oh,
2/3 of the movie just
yeah.
in YouTube clip form, and but it gets to the huge kind of climax of the movie when he's giving the King's Speech. And his speech coach says, "Say it just to me." And I think there's so much wisdom there of,
Mhm.
pick a person, either kind of an avatar in your mind or pick a literal physical person in the audience.
Mhm.
And it's for them. It's for them and only them. And it will come out personal and conversational and warm and
Mhm.
direct, and just block everyone else out. And it's for them and only them. I think there's wisdom in that. We cannot be everything to everybody, but it's like the hats thing. By picking one person to deliver to, we're going to end up speaking to a lot of people. So it sounds like you know these different fora in which you have been successful in the past. And so I think it's
Yeah.
just about figuring out how to mentally tap into those either personas that you have put on or those characteristics or whatever it is. It's awesome that you have these situations where you have had success and continue to have success, because what that tells me is that you can tap into those things, and those things are available and accessible to you mentally, and you can get there, but completely understand the block around all of that because of your past experience and just public
Yeah.
speaking in general. Totally understand.
Yeah. That totally makes sense. Okay. So that's all very good advice. Let me see if I can kind of summarize your advice and everything just for myself, but then also
Sure.
for everybody else. So you're saying that, for the topic, you want
Yes.
to go ahead and pick like something a little bit more specific that doesn't
Yeah.
make you wear like a million different hats,
Right.
pick one hat to wear.
Yeah.
Feed on or rather like pull from your past experience on, ways that you were successful before
Mhm.
in that. If not, and that's okay if it's your first time or something like
Yeah.
that, like maybe just bring on a persona, like
Yeah.
you are the best, whatever.
Mhm.
I know I brought that up too, but
Yeah.
then you're talking about, kind of doing something a little bit awkward or like where you're out of your comfort zone a little bit beforehand. So it's not
Yeah.
your first time being out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
And then, of course, speaking to one person when you're presenting, kind of thinking about who are you speaking to? Are they in the room? Are they not in the room? If you can kind of like visualize them or something. Did I miss anything?
No, that's wonderful. Whatever you need to do to mentally get to a spot where you feel calm, comfortable, confident about presenting, that is the right thing to do. So yes, I think you covered it all wonderfully. And I'm excited to hear about your speaking gigs.
Okay, me too. I am. I've put in some applications and I'm a little
Yay.
nervous about it, to be honest with you, because I just know, like, as a coach, I never was planning on doing all the coachy things. Like, there's
Yeah.
a lot of coaches, like, people know, like, there's coaches that they put out books, they do speaking, events. They obviously do group coaching, one-to-one coaching, like all of these kind of things. And I never, like, professionally as a consultant, I do a lot, of that, where I speak in front of people. But like as a coach and everything, I've never, thought like, okay, I'm going to be that kind of coach. I'm going to be a one-to-one coach and I'm going to be a group coaching coach. But I'm like, no, I kind of want to be able to get out there because I think that what I have to offer, for people as far as like my coaching program, things like that, I think those are like super helpful things, for people. So same thing for you, like what you do. And I would love to put it in the show notes too, so people know how to get a hold of you, go to your website and all of that wonderful stuff too.
Yes.
So that way, people can get a hold of you if they need help in this, because
Yes.
I think that it would be super helpful for them to start working with you.
Well, I appreciate that. You can find me at buildbetterslides.com, and I work with both individuals and companies and teach folks how to build better presentations. Part of that being public speaking preparedness and dealing with that anxiety. Most of what I do is corporate training, but I also work with lawyers, financial advisors, entrepreneurs, and lots of other wonderful folks on either directly building their presentations or giving them the skills so that they can do it themselves. So yes, that's me, Build Better Slides. Feel free to reach out. Anything that I can do to be helpful, I am here. So I appreciate the plug.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here. Buddy's going to want to say goodbye, even though
Bye, buddy.
you say bye-bye.
Hope you find your dad. It's from Elf.
I felt like I was sitting here kind of like Dr. Evil or something like that,
With
like Mr. Bigglesworth and everything. So
a diehard Austin Powers fan. My best friend and I went in costume to go see the third one.
No, I love that.
We were like 16 or 17, but we went to a thrift store to find the most 70s thing we could. This was Goldmember, which was the more kind of 70s era movie. And I have a picture that I recently uncovered on my old digital camera about us when we went to the theater. We were total dorks, and I'm so glad that smartphones didn't exist back then.
Okay. May I have a copy of this? Because I would love to also.
I will show it to you offline, but I think it's the very first picture.
Other people want to see it too.
I mean, my skin back then was great, flawless.
It was great now. What are you talking about?
That's because the filter I have on is like, I think the filter is literally called 19-year-old. Okay, I don't know if you can see this.
Oh my gosh. Fun.
So that's me and my friend Jenny, and we met when we were 12. And we're about to sign up for a stand-up comedy class together, and we're terrified. So I professionally get up in front of people and talk, and no problem. Stand-up comedy, I want to crawl out of my skin and think about burying myself under the earth because we're so scared about it.
Oh my! So you're doing that now? You're going.
We haven't signed up yet. We're going to sign up. There's a class I think starting in September, and you do it for 7 weeks, and then there's a show at the end of it, and you invite like your family and friends. And
oh my gosh! Okay.
I know.
I
but
want to see this as well too.
it's exciting and scary, but it's a totally get out of your comfort zone thing. And I went to go see a show at this place that we're going to take this class.
Yeah.
And I was sweating because I was so nervous on their behalf. And I tried to laugh so loudly because, like you said, wanted to be a good audience member and all that. So anyway.
Okay. I think you're going to do an amazing job. First of all, I find you to be very funny naturally. So
I also find me to be very funny, but I'm not in the audience. So I don't know if other people will find me, but I've been taking notes on we've been wanting to do this for like 2 years. So I have a note on my phone, and it's all the things for my set. And it's terrifying. It's terrifying. Anyway,
right, please record it, so that way, put it out. Just do it. This is what Mel Robbins says. Like,
I know.
Do it, right?
What she said, let them. Is that her?
I know, but she said that, like, the one thing that you have to do, this is like the formula that of any successful person, is that you have to have a website. You have to put your testimonials on your website. This is in her book, Let Them. Okay. And then the third thing is that you just have to keep posting on social media. You have to post about your stuff, like what you're doing. You have to post about, like, you have to post pictures. You have to post video. I mean, like, all of this kind of stuff, just to let people know this is what I'm doing, and like that. And that makes a successful person, is that kind of rule of 3 and everything. If you have those 3 things, you can, you can be successful too. I'm sorry. Like, now I'm sounding like
you can be successful like Mel Robbins.
You can be successful too. Yeah, exactly. Like Mel Robbins,
I want to be successful like Mel Robbins.
I feel like I should change my last name to Robbins, because there's Mel Robbins, Tony Robbins, just like I want to be Robbins,
That has a nice ring to it.
Yeah, I know. Samantha Robbins.
Well, Ms. Robbins, thank you very much for your time.
Yeah. Hello. And thank you. Yes. This has been Samantha Robbins. And thank you for being here on the podcast, Libby. I really appreciate you. I don't know why I went into this like
wonderful
NPR voice mode or something.
It's a delight.
Such a delight having you on this podcast.
Here.
Please follow me at SamanthaElizabeth.com. Or maybe it will be SamanthaRobbins.com.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Well, thank you so much for having me. This was wonderful.
I appreciate it. I really appreciate you being here and
and
all of this wonderful stuff and all the wonderful, wonderful tips that you gave as well too. So I will put your information in the show notes for people to find you and such.
Thank you. See you later.
All right. See you later.